Alright guys, here it is. You've been waiting for it, the Avengers beta review. By the way, if this is your first time on the channel, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It's actually right down here now. And do me a favor, hit a like if you like this video. My name is RetroRob64. Let's talk about the Avengers beta and what we think about it.
RetroRob64.
Alright, so we've had the beta for about 3 weeks in a row now, and we've completed the entire beta process on the PC, on PlayStation 4, Xbox. All of them have been completed now, and we can finally make a legitimate case for how this game is shaping up to be. The game's releasing very shortly. I believe as of this recording, it's coming out tomorrow if you've pre-ordered. Otherwise, Friday for everybody else that's going to be picking up the game at retail. But let's go over some of the things that I enjoyed about the beta. And number one, right off the bat, the voice acting is phenomenal. I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, it's not the actual actors. Yeah, sure, fine. But I think the problem with a lot of the negative reviews so far about the beta are people are still stuck with the MCU universe in terms of how the game should feel and look. And I think the game is definitely playing off of those vibes, but it's trying to be its own thing too. And I think that's something that's very important for everyone to remember, that this game is its own game and its own universe and everything. It's almost not even in the same universe now as the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. So we really have to treat this game as if it's its own thing. But going forward, I want to definitely talk about the voice acting, and I actually like all the voices. Everyone does a great performance. We've got a great cast that's going to reprise these roles, and they're doing a phenomenal job already right off the bat. And going into the next point, I will say that Kamala Khan is phenomenal. She's great. Her personality shines so well through this character, and I cannot wait to play through the story and see how she really brings together the Avengers. I think it's such a great job that they did with this character. They formed such a nice little backstory for her. They did a really good job with her voice and everything. She does a really good performance. I forget the exact actress that does the voice for her, but she's super charming. She's does a good job of pulling you in and making you want to be immersed in her story, play this game some more with her as your main character. Great job with her. Absolutely great job. And going into the next point, I think this game graphically looks really good. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it doesn't look as good as it should, but I mean, I can definitely tell from the first time we saw the gameplay, which was the initial Avengers Day, that was back, I think, in E3 2019. We saw a little bit of that game at that point, and it's come a long way even since then. The game, honestly, to me, I have no confirmation, but this is just a guess. It looks a lot like the same engine that they used for Shadows of the Tomb Raider. Very similar, like graphically speaking. I think this could potentially be another benchmark for a lot of people to use to get that same kind of, is my PC that strong? Is it strong enough? That's kind of, I think, what we're getting here. And the textures look really good. I like a lot of the graphical adjustments they made for a lot of the characters too, like character models with Thor, for example. Did a really good job with changing him up in his style. And I was playing on the PlayStation 4 Pro and the PC, and I was trying to figure out which one it looked better on. I probably would say it's the PC, but just very, very marginally. The game looks really good either way. Now, we did get to actually see the hub, which is the helicarrier, and it's pretty cool. Like, just seeing this old helicarrier that's been run down. It has a bunch of missions. There's a lot of lore and story. There's a lot of stuff that's covered up with tarps, and you're kind of like, I wonder who used that, or what was that, or why is it covered up? And they did kind of hint with Kamala. She did see, like, oh man, I wonder who lived here, you know, and she kind of sifts through the stuff. And I think for spoiler reasons, they didn't want to go into that too deeply, but they kind of let the dialogue go. And it was kind of cool to see, like, you know, maybe we get to discover some stuff. I know we in the main game, we'll get to actually rebuild the entire helicarrier into this main hub, where we'll be able to upgrade our gear through a vendor that we get to place there. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens to this helicarrier as the game progresses. But I love it so far. I think it's such a great little hub, and it's giving you that great feel of, like, connectivity. You know, you're really a part of the Avengers. You're really, you know, in this fight together. Now, with that being said, I'm excited for the future prospects of this game and where it can go. But yeah, we're definitely going to get a bunch of characters. We're going to get some really cool ones like Miss Marvel, Black Panther. They're going to be coming later on and as probably DLC or just maybe kind of like updates as to the game, as it is going to be a free service game, so there's going to be some definite updates later on. And it's going to be interesting to see. Sorry, my cat is messing with my window. It's going to be interesting to see where the game goes from there and how we're going to get to maybe potentially go to Wakanda. That'd be cool. Or outer space for Captain Marvel. I don't know. This will be interesting stuff. That's exciting stuff for me to see where this game will actually go. Alright, now we're going to go into some of the cons that I definitely noticed all 3 weekends for the game. And one of the big ones that everyone was talking about for the most part was the camera shake. Yeah, it's pretty intense, definitely. There is something that was nice, though, that was added towards, I think, the second or third weekend. They added a slider or a number adjuster for the camera shake. And I was thankful for that. I think a lot of people were. So if you're worried about that in the retail game, don't worry. There's going to be a slider for it. And if you bring it all the way down to 0 like I did, you're still going to get some camera shake, but not to the extreme level that it was before. And I think it's at a perfect spot right around 0, which is crazy because it should be almost nothing at 0. But, you know, I guess they just really want the camera to shake or something. Definitely noticed it when I was playing Hulk. I mean, it's insane, like how much the camera was shaking. I kind of got a little dizzy at some points, like I was playing a VR game or something. It was wild. So, but yeah, at least they addressed it for the most part for the beta. Hopefully, it'll be in the main game. Definitely, I would say the majority of the beta, you play a lot of the Hulk. Now, you can also play as Kamala. For these missions, but I think a lot of people probably wanted to play the Hulk because it's such a titular character, and you definitely, you know, you can check out Miss Marvel as well, but she's pretty good. I think she's in a good spot for the most part. There's not too much tweaking that I think she would need personally, and her playstyle is really fun. But the Hulk, just there's something off about him. His movements are a little just erratic, and it's really hard to platform with him. I noticed that. There was a few sections where I was stumbling upon this like little knockdown branch, and I was trying to run up it and then jump and then leap onto this platform, and it took me forever, and I was just like, all right, this isn't working, I'll just move on. And that's kind of a bad game design because you obviously probably put some stuff up there, which I eventually got up to. I got that chest, which only had like a couple of items in it, which felt even worse to finally get to. But, you know, if you put these things on such like pedestals for platforming, and it's cumbersome to get to them, your players aren't going to go and try and get those items. They should feel like, oh, I want to get that because the platform mechanics are solid. And you know, that's what Mario is all about, right? Anytime you play a Mario game, if you fall, it's generally because you might have messed up. The controls are generally, for the most part, very tight, and if you fall, you'll usually want to try again because you knew you made the error. But if the game is making the error constantly, you'll not want to do the platforming. So I'm really hoping they adjust that towards, you know, maybe not in the first game, but, or the first part of the game, but definitely, you know, very soon after. There is going to be like an 18 gigabyte, I think it is, patch, day 1 patch, which I think is going to include probably the camera shake and things like that, all the beta stuff that they compiled. But definitely for this one, they really need to make sure that they get the platforming right for a lot of these characters, including the Hulk. Definitely want to mention that on both PS4 Pro and on the PC, I noticed lots of frame rate dips. I mean, lots. And I definitely noticed a lot of frame dips. On my GTX 2060 Super, I was just like, okay, I guess the game is demanding. But that's why I also kind of thought maybe this is like a Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because my PC definitely chugs at some points when I turn all the max settings up on that game, and it definitely dips down to like the 30 frames area, and I'm like, okay, this game's definitely intense. So that's why I was wondering if this game is built off that engine, but it could very well just be like some poor optimization. Hopefully that 18 gigabyte patch really does just fix a lot of those problems, but we'll have to wait and see. PlayStation 4 Pro definitely had better frame rate issues, I would say, but it was still noticeable, especially when there's a lot going on. You got like, especially when you have the harm rooms, that's when you have 4-player co-op and you have just everybody doing their abilities, you got the enemies doing their things, and just like a lot of particle effects going on. And yeah, you definitely saw some frames go down into like the teens, even like 19, 18 frames. It was rough. So Hopefully they fix that as well. That's a little discerning, especially since the game is such a focus on multiplayer with a 4-player co-op aspect. You're gonna have to make sure this frame rate is definitely solid, so hopefully they fix that. And I'm gonna try and link some gameplay here. Now there's the point that I want to make here. There's definitely some collision detection issues. Now, definitely can notice this a lot with Hulk, especially when he punches things. There's like a slight second pause or delay, as almost as if, you know, to show that the punch has connect, the kick has connect, the hits have connected. And I know fighting games do this, and it's different in a fighting game because you'll have usually like a steady frame rate all the way throughout. But when you have a jittery frame rate and then you have these constant pauses to show, you know, like a punch being hit, it's definitely, it throws you off that rhythm of like getting a combo together. And I definitely noticed it the first week. The second week, not so much. And by the third week, it was definitely on the minimal side, but it was still there and it was still present, and it's very immersion breaking. This is the one I'm really concerned about because I want these characters to, you know, have obviously an impact and a weight to them. And I know that that was an issue before with the first gameplay reveal. We didn't have that good hit detection. Like it was like, you know, you didn't feel a weight behind Thor's hammer. And I think that they've solved that problem, but now it's almost like they went too far to the other direction where they should have actually made it somewhere in the middle where, you know, frame rate's nice and smooth, you still get the nice hit detection, and you don't have this massive collision error. Because sometimes, I know when I was playing as the Hulkbuster, and I would hit the move that would basically like slide you across the ground with the enemy and you drag them. It's super cool move, but like you definitely sometimes don't grab the enemy where, you know, the Hulkbuster grabbed, and it was just like, okay, I guess, you know, just teleport, just hit the button and point the direction and hope you hit an enemy kind of thing. It's just kind of a little odd. You know, I don't know if there's a right way to do that kind of move, but that collision detection is a very immersion breaking thing. Okay, so what do I feel about this game right now as it stands with the beta? I am cautiously optimistic because I think this game is actually going to be really good. Maybe not right away, and maybe not even after an 18 gigabyte day one patch, but I think it will be eventually. And my number one reason is because Destiny 2 is a thing. That's right. This game is very much similar to a Destiny 2 type thing. They definitely saw Destiny 2's success, I think, over at Crystal Dynamics, and they said, well, we can probably do that with the Avengers. And, you know, the idea is not necessarily wrong. I think I would have gotten to Destiny 2, but the problem is that I never got into the story. I never got into that lore, so just to me, I just felt like I was shooting things. Whereas in this game, I actually care about the lore. I love the Marvel Universe. This has every right to be the game that we want. And this has every right to be the game that we can really sink a lot of time into. So I think in time, with enough updates and enough like player feedback going on, and just how like Crystal Dynamics is actually taking a lot of the feedback to heart and making sure that this game is something that they really want you to play, I think there's a possibility this game will actually be really, really good. Maybe not right away, but maybe in a few months, maybe even in a year. Whether or not we want to wait that long for the game to be that good and purchase, I leave that up to you. At this point, I did not cancel my pre-order. I will be playing tomorrow, and I will try to get a review going probably sometime maybe next week, just so I have enough time to really sink my teeth in and see how the game really plays out and the complete retail with everything ready to go. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you still excited for this game? Do you want to play it? I do. So if you're going to play, I'm going to play. I'll see you on there. I'm on PS4 if you guys need me. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure, as always. I do have the Cyberpunk video editing at this very moment, I think, as you're watching this now. So that should be coming up soon, but keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I am wearing my Black Panther shirt. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Thank you so much for your dedication and just being an awesome person.